grateful to be open.
Natalie Young owns Eat Restaurant downtown. She says her staff is abiding by every safety protocol laid out by Governor Sisolak's modified Phase 2 reopening plan for restaurants, including the mask mandate.
If we need to do something better to follow the rules, we'll do that. It's not a big deal.
The city of Las Vegas is taking enforcement of the mask mandate a step further by adding what they call compliance ambassadors.
They will be going out, they'll be observing business operations. They're looking to see are patrons of the business accessing the business and wearing their face coverings.
Director of Planning Robert Summerfield calls these ambassadors the eyes and ears for the city.
And they're going to go in and say, here are your responsibilities as a business owner.
The ambassadors' main role is to educate businesses if they aren't in compliance. They can't give citations, but they can alert a compliance officer.
Compliance officer will actually go out then and address the business.
On Wednesday, according to the Center for Public Integrity, Dr. Deborah Birx, a White House coronavirus task force leader, privately warned state and local officials from 11 major cities, including Las Vegas, to take aggressive steps to curb COVID-19 outbreaks. The city responded in part with the ambassadors.
It just became much more evident that we've got to roll out quicker.
If more businesses follow the mandate and social distancing, Summerfield believes the city will get a better picture of where the spread is worst.
As those data points continue to come in, that will help the health district and help other policymakers in the region identify where is transmission actually occurring.
I'm told the Compliance Ambassador Program will roll out fully next week. There will be about 100 ambassadors out in the community.
Graham here to
NBC
talk
Sports.
about this.
There
yes.
he is. Hey, Mike, thanks for joining us. We know you're the host of the Olympics. And what does this do to the athletes? They were trying to get ready for the next 2 weeks. Yeah. Now they have to get ready next summer.
Well, Kim and Dana, it's great to be back with you all again. Yeah, we should be in Tokyo a day away from the opening ceremony, but we're a year away. So we're doing 1 year out, deja vu, right? The athletes, they have said to me, and I spoke to Caleb Dressel, swimmer, Simone Manuel, gold medal swimmer from the U.S. from Rio. They both said that when they found out in March that the Olympics were postponed, it was kind of a little shock to the system. But what has helped them is when there was a new date put on the calendar. Just start planning. If they were in good position, do exactly what they did, maintain that. If they learned something along the way in their preparation, here's a chance to do it over again, a do-over they didn't think they would get. Athletes overcome adversity all the time, and I think that this is just going to speak right to the athlete's soul, and they'll find a way to be ready for Tokyo 2021, just like they'd be ready if it was happening tomorrow.
And Mike, you get people like me, casual sports fans, to actually pay attention and care. You're such a great storyteller. Is there a storyline or a particular athlete's story that we should pay attention to?
Well, there's so many. There's Simone Biles, gymnastics. She's extraordinary. She has a chance to be a favorite in 5 different gold medal opportunities. Katie Ledecky in the pool as well. You think about no Michael Phelps, so who's going to be the face of U.S. men's swimming? Will it be Caleb Dressel? Can Nathan Adrian overcome the cancer that he's been dealing with and perhaps win an Olympic gold medal? But I'm thinking about a couple of U.S. women's teams. The women's soccer team won the gold in the World Cup in 2019. They're going to try to do that double of the World Cup and then the Olympics. And then you've got Asia Jones from Las Vegas there with an opportunity to be a part of the U.S. women's basketball team going for a 7th straight gold medal. You got that. You got all the fun new sports that are coming in, like surfing and skateboarding. You've got some oldies but goodies. Will we see Tiger Woods, Serena Williams, Roger Federer at the Olympics? There's a little bit of something for everyone, so even those of you who don't follow sports all the time, we get you sucked in with the Olympics, and we can't wait to try to do it again in a year.
We have a new sport coming to Las Vegas. You might have heard of it. It's called the National Football League. Las Vegas Raiders are hosting the Tampa Bay Bucks and Tom Brady on Sunday Night Football on October the 25th. Mike, you're coming to our fine city here in a couple of months.
Now, I am completely impartial. Root for all 32 teams evenly. But it's just us in Vegas talking. So what stays in Vegas, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, right? John Gruden was my partner for years on Monday Night Football. John's one of my closest friends. There's no better fit to be the first coach of the Las Vegas NFL team than Coach Gruden. So I'm really excited to see how they come about. The stadium looks amazing. I think they've got a great chance for an exciting year. They're in the same division with the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, the $500 million MVP. So it's going to be tough, but I think it's going to be an awesome story to see the Las Vegas Raiders. It's a shame it's not going to happen with the big crowds and everything else that we hoped it would, but down the line, this is going to be a franchise like the Golden Knights, who've really captured the sports passion of Las Vegas beyond folks who just come in for a weekend, the real sports fans who live in town there.
In fact, there's a great story about you and John Gruden playing golf with the President of the United States in Rick Riley's new book.
Oh, yeah.
A story that we do not have time to get into this morning, but I'm glad you brought up John Gruden's name this morning. Mike, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mike. We'll be watching
my
more
guy.
on the Today Show this morning. And, of course, we'll see you a year away in Tokyo. Thank you for your time.
And there is no issue more universal to all Americans and all people than protecting our planet.
That's Nevada House of Representative member Susie Lee on the House floor before the bipartisan approval of the Great American Outdoors Act.
This fund helps conserve some of Southern Nevada's most precious public lands like Red Rock Canyon, Sloan Canyon, and Lake Mead.
Don't call it an environmental stimulus package. In fact, the Great American Outdoors Act builds upon the already existing Land and Water Conservation Fund approved in 1965. Primary source of the fund comes from fees and royalties from oil and gas offshore drilling. For decades, Washington lawmakers have diverted funds for other purposes, but now $900 million annually will be spent on its intended purpose: conservation, deferred maintenance projects, and the protection of irreplaceable land.
You can help what hasn't been ruined yet.
Heather Fisher, president of Save Red Rock, pleased to see Nevada's lawmakers' unanimous support. She knows firsthand the value that properly funded parks bring to our community.
We see from Spring Mountain Ranch State Park that a great thing can come out of this bill. They used $1.6 million. They bought it. It was going to be condominiums. They turned it into a state park that everybody loves.
Nevada Senator Cortez Masto, co-sponsor of the bill, said in a statement that this will address the $12 billion in backlogged maintenance projects, making $1.9 billion available each year for the next 5 years. The law still needs the president's signature, but that is expected. He tweeted yesterday, "We must protect our national parks for our children and our grandchildren. I'm calling on the House to pass the Great American Outdoors Act today." Peter Dawson, News 3.
Thank you very much. Hey, huge news to come out of the NIAA today, and the lineups and dates are much different. Winter sports for high school will be 6 weeks long beginning January 2nd, 2021. Winter sports. Now, fall sports like football begin February 13th in 2021, also competing for 6 weeks, and spring sports like baseball begin April 3rd, and the summer off-season regulations will take place now through January 1st of 2021. Really, 2021? Whatever. All right, people, you know the next big day of training camp arrivals for our Las Vegas Raiders. Well, allegedly, or supposedly. I meant to say it that way, folks. Amber Dixon was at the Raiders' beautiful HQ and explains how this 2020 training camp is unlike any before and probably any after.
We told you on Tuesday that Raiders rookies were reporting. Today it is quarterbacks and injured players, but it's not the kind of reporting that you might imagine. See, Raiders players aren't even allowed inside the training facility behind me until they've had 2 negative COVID-19 tests over the course of 72 hours. Aren't even allowed in the front door. So what does reporting actually entail? I'm told it's simply getting into town and showing up at an off-site location to start testing. In a typical training camp, players would have showed up here, checked in, undergone some physicals, and then get on the field the next day, like in the file video you see here. But the Raiders, they're not expecting to be on the field until at least early next week. And once training camp is fully underway, it should be an intense one, says longtime Raiders broadcaster JT the Brick, especially if the league and Players Association agree on having no preseason games.
I know that John Gruden takes the preseason really seriously. And for him not to have preseason games, these players are going to be working hard. The demand on this roster, which has been enormous this offseason with Zoom chats and all the meetings they have to be at, is going to amp up a bit because they're not going to be getting in as much work on the field even when they report to Henderson.
I'll have more from JT on Friday when we explore the positives and negatives of having no preseason. From the Raiders training facility in Henderson, I'm Amber Dixon.
All right, Amber, thank you very much. Now, our Golden Knights back at it this morning, putting in that good work, folks, before they head off, of course, to the NHL bubble. Well, everyone except Max Pacioretty was on the ice today, who he missed his third straight practice. But even without Patches, the Knights are looking really strong, looking good, especially a guy like Alex Tuck, who missed so much time this season.
I think he has the potential to really make some noise here in the playoffs. You know, he's a mismatch guy for us in the depth of our lineup. He's going to be hard for fifth and sixth defensemen to contain, and he has that ability. So for me, the message is if you have a great playoff, no one remembers the regular season, and I think that's the approach he's taken.
And the Golden Knights aren't the newbies anymore. There is a 32nd team in the NHL, the Seattle Kraken. Check out their cool video. Yeah, pretty cool. Yeah. Kevin said who started that. Yeah, we know the Golden Knights started that, but still looks cool. And finally, Mike Tyson, he hinted that he was coming back. And now he really is. He's going to fight Roy Jones Jr. The 54-year-old Mike Tyson will battle the 51-year-old Roy Jones in an 8-round exhibition in Carson, California, September 12th. And hey, it is a pay-per-view fight. Pay to see two guys fight who are over 50 years old. I'm just gonna go, yeah, I hear a lot. I'm not telling jokes, folks. I'm just reporting the sports.
And need to put on some pants.
I just want to say to that Seattle team, like, what's crack-a-lackin'?
I like that. You tickled yourself with that.